Multiple versions of Internet Explorer on a machine. Is it possible to have multiple versions of Internet Explorer on the same computer?
Microsoft now provides free virtual machine images with a number of different versions of Internet Explorer pre-installed. You can grab a copy of the images on the modern.ie website, which currently includes the following combinations. EA6 on Windows XP, EA7 on Windows Vista, EA8 on Windows XP, EA8 on Windows 7, EA9 on Windows 7, EA10 on Windows 7, EA10 on Windows 8, EA11 on Windows 8.1. EA11 on Windows 7, EA11 on Windows 10. The images are designed for the following virtualization platforms: Microsoft Hyper-V, Microsoft Virtual, Oracle VirtualBox, Parallels, VMware. The images expire after a fixed amount of time, so snapshots are recommended to simplify the process of resetting them after they expire. Screenshots.
Try iTester. iTester is a free, both for personal and professional usage, web browser that allows you to have the rendering and JavaScript engines of EA10 Preview, EA9, EA8, EA7, EA6 and EA5.5 on Windows 7, Vista and XP, as well as the installed EA in the same process.
I assume you want this to test your website in a different browser version. However, a much safer and better solution would be to use virtual pieces to install different versions. This would mean you could use Internet Explorer 8 as your normal OS browser and run Internet Explorer 6 and AMP7 without any of the versions interfering with each other. Quoted from the solution below, a possible alternative. The method described below still works, but there's now an alternate method suitable for web developers simply wanting to test their sites in E6. Check out iTester, which allows you to install a standalone web browser in Vista or Windows 7 that allows you to view sites rendered using the E6 rendering engine. It's not exactly a functional, standalone version of E6 though, so if you are looking for that, use the method below. Here's a nice article about it. Got a work internet application that works fine in E6 but doesn't like E7? Amazingly, Microsoft has provided a way to install the non-Vista compatible E6 on Vista and Windows 7. Well, maybe not quite, but near enough. Internet Explorer 7 has been out for quite a while now, yet there are still plenty of sites out there that can't cope with it, and demand that users connect using E6. Unfortunately, most people, certainly the vast majority of home users, are running E7, or even E8 beta, having received it as part of a Windows XP update, or they're running Windows Vista or Windows 7 which uses E7 or E8 respectively by default. If you're running Windows XP, you can roll back to E6, but this seems rather a shame to do. If you're running Windows Vista, there's no rollback option since E6 was never released for Vista. What you can do instead is make use of Microsoft's Internet Explorer Application Compatibility VPC image. These are two virtual PC hard drive images, downloadable here, which contain a full, pre-activated copy of Windows XP SP2, one contains E6 and the other E7. The idea is to make users able to test either application, and to this end each image contains the E7 Readiness Toolkit, the Script Debugger and the eDeveloper toolbar. The individual downloads are fairly chunky, 443 MB and 491 MB respectively, and expand out to 1.48 GB and 1.58 GB VHD files. To use the files, you need to install Virtual PC 2007, create a new machine using the default settings, and then go into each virtual machine and point the hard drive to the VHD file you just downloaded. Make sure the other settings are correct, especially networking, and then start the machines from the console.
There are ways to run multiple versions of Internet Explorer on the same system, as Robinson mentioned, but I wouldn't trust those during testing. Internet Explorer's interesting rendering habits can be very subtle, and these ways of running multiple versions of Internet Explorer do some weird tricks with some of the shared libraries and the registry, and I fear they might either introduce more subtle rendering anomalies, or hide some that would otherwise be there. For the same reason, I don't trust the techniques for running Internet Explorer on Linux or Mac OS X, using Wine. So, I would definitely go with virtualizing Windows. You can download virtual PC images from Microsoft for this purpose, and not have to pay additional licensing fees. These images do expire, so I wouldn't recommend installing any other software on them, but when they expire, you can download new ones from Microsoft. They make them expire since they are free, and Microsoft doesn't want people using them as real systems.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.